Nigeria is battling a housing deficit crisis. Research has shown that over 16 to 22 million housing units are needed to bridge this housing deficit. Research has also shown that over 24.4 million homeless people live in Nigeria. Nigeria is the most populous black nation on earth, with over 200 million people. The United Nations states that with a population growth rate of 2.6 to 3.2% per year, this housing deficit crisis is projected to get worse. Africa's population, currently estimated to be around 1.3 billion, is projected to grow to over 2.5 billion in 2050 and 4.5 billion in 2100. One question that should stick up in the mind of every African leader and in every stakeholder in the Africa project is this: where would Africa accommodate her growing population? Africa's population is also very young, with over 60% of its population under the age of 25. Nigeria's population is also very young, with 70% of its population under the age of 35. With these growing numbers, and with a widening economic gap, and with a widening between the demand and supply, this problem would only get worse without quick intervention. The End SARS protests that happened earlier this year revealed to us very clearly a lot of problems in our society. Part of the facts that were revealed was the fact that people now live in their business spaces because of increasing rent, increasing inflation, and increasing costs of daily living. Nigeria is currently ranked as one of the poorest nations on earth, with over 40% of its population living below the poverty line, that is on less than $1 per day. While there are many tested and proven solutions for building construction over the ages, that is using materials such as wood, thatch, tar, mud, concrete, etc., there is need to quickly begin to adopt alternate solutions to the housing construction to bridge this national housing deficit. Many solutions have been researched and developed and have been implemented all over the world. Some of the relatively new solutions include the 3D printed homes, the container homes, and the prefab homes. However, the container homes are of particular interest for so many reasons. The global container fleet is currently estimated at about 530 million containers. Every day, 5 to 6 million containers traverse our seas, transporting goods from country to country and from continent to continent. It is estimated that there are over 14 million containers earmarked as ex-service containers, that is, containers that have already been deployed to secondary purposes, such as packaging of special equipment and goods, and converted to office spaces, business spaces, or storage spaces. With these large numbers of ex-service containers sitting all over shipyards and dockyards all over the world, there is a huge gap to potential to converting these containers to living spaces either on temporary or on permanent basis. The aftermath of the End SARS protests also revealed that a lot of the people who were involved, young people I might say, in the destruction of properties and the looting of people's sources of livelihood were largely traced to people living in spaces or in quarters that are generally inhabited by homeless people. Like the old saying goes, the hungry man is the angry man. While Africa may be way behind in solving our developmental issues, efforts to curb the housing deficit crisis would go a long way to bringing us forward in the global converse. There are many benefits of the container home designs. They can be easily moved from one place to another. They are easy to construct. They are environmentally friendly. they are easy to replicate, they have a relatively lower footprint, and they can last for a lifetime or even longer when well managed and protected. There are also a lot of emerging technologies for the provision of essential utilities, such as power, i.e. via the use of solar and wind energy technologies, utility water through domestic supplies or through new technologies such as the air-to-water generator, and even sewage processing using the biodigest incinerator. There are many poor, underserved, and less developed communities lying all over the Niger Delta. The onset of the COVID-19 crisis in Nigeria revealed very clearly to everyone, both stakeholders, government, and the public, that many people really do not have any place to call home at the end of a busy working day. While many were expected to go home to self-isolate or to work from home or to stay away from public spaces to curb the transmission of the virus, it was discovered that many people who we term as homeless people live in makeshift spaces, bachas, under bridges, or even sometimes in their buses, especially for those in the transport business. Housing is a primary and basic need of man. Efforts can be made between the public and the private sectors to curb this crisis before it becomes almost a pandemic. There have been a lot of successful initiatives in the recent past to help deal with this crisis in Africa. Successful initiatives such as the Pan-African Housing Fund, International Housing Fund, the Affordable Housing Fund, and the Family Homes Funds have provided homes at relatively low cost or even for free to the less privileged and to the homeless people in countries around Africa. Container homes can be deployed as emergency living shelters for people who have been affected by crisis that has led to the displacement of persons from their primary places of abode, or in cases of natural disasters such as floods, erosion, landslides, earthquakes, etc. These container homes are also very unique because they can be used as spaces for storage. They can be converted to inpatient clinics, dispensaries, warehouses, schools, clinics, etc. These containers can be moved from place to place as the need arises to curb the housing deficit or to immediately intervene, especially in the Niger Delta where people are affected by issues like floods on annual basis. Imagine a community like Diobo, a 200-acre community in the Niger Delta, located in Port Harcourt, River State, Nigeria. A visit to this community would reveal the existence of many dilapidated structures with little or no government infrastructure in place. Many of these people are poor and have little or nothing to sustain themselves above their daily living. Imagine if by the joint effort of public and private sector partners and NGOs, we are able to slowly relocate these people to what we term the 50-unit container homes estate. This project can be grown steadily from year to year and can be deployed in various communities in the Niger Delta from year to year. It will be easier to manage person-to-person infection and community transmissions if we are able to replicate this container home design concept across communities in the Niger Delta. Homes that are modularized are easier to manage, and they are standard spaces people can live in to prevent or to eliminate or to reduce to as low as reasonably practicable living numbers per living space. Like the old saying goes, there is no better place like home. Africa will play her role in the global discourse if we are able to eliminate or reduce our primary problems. If homes are supplied at free or very little costs to the poorest of the poor amongst us, some of our decade-long problems would be largely eliminated. Thank you.